Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to analyze Intellect Design Arena, which is a very niche IT company. This talk you have chosen from the Telegram poll, and if you are not on our Telegram channel, you can search my name on the Telegram and join our channel today. If you are new to the YouTube channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon. Let's get started. So Intellect Design Arena. When we talk about IT sector, lot of us are unable to understand the differences in between different IT companies. We feel that the IT sector is homogeneous and all the companies do similar businesses, but it is not so. There are different lines of services in the IT sector, and there are companies which specialize in different services. And one of such companies is Intellect Design Arena, which specializes or whose niche is to provide technology to the BFSI sector. Now, what is BFSI? BFSI stands for Banking, Financial Services and Insurance. So this company provides technology services or platforms to specifically this sector, and it is one of the global leaders in providing technology to this sector. So Intellect Design Arena is a niche IT company focused on BFSI. It develops latest technologies, platforms for this sector. They have ready-made platforms which have evolved over time, which can be implemented and used by banks, financial services institutions, wealth management companies as it is, or they can develop a customized solution for these kind of companies. They can implement a platform which they already have and customize it as per the needs of that client. Their presence is nearly 97 countries. In a lot of countries, all the biggest banks and financial institutions use their solutions. So this gives the new clients confidence to adopt their solutions as it is already tested and used over a long period of time by the global leaders. As you know that the fintech sector is in a disruption mode. There are a lot of new ways of payment which we are using these days in our lives. We are moving into a cashless economy. If not completely, most of the transactions which are happening these days are not in cash. So a company which is focused on technology for the fintech sector like Intellect Arena has a very bright future. This company has been rated number one in various lines of their services relating to retail banking, relating to insurance and transaction banking globally. It has headquarters in Chennai and serves more than 260 customers globally with presence in 97 countries. So this is a brief introduction with which we'll get into the details of this company now. So let's talk about briefly the history of this company. This company belongs to a group called Polaris Group. This group was founded by Mr. Arun Jain. So this group has experience of more than 25 years in the technology sector, and Intellect Design Arena was formed as a demerger of businesses of this group, which is a product business and the services business. Services business operates now in the name of Polaris Consulting, and the product or the platform business operates under Intellect Design Arena. For both of these companies, Polaris Banyan is the promoter, and there are some and the owners also have shares in their individual names. Now let's talk about the management of this company. As discussed, Mr. Arun Jain is the founder. As of now, he is the chairman and managing director of the company. He started his journey by setting up a workshop for nuclear software in 1986. In the initial 7 years of setting up of Polaris Software Lab business, he has grown that business at around 100% CAGR every year. So this shows the focus of the management in their business and the aggressiveness. Intellect Design Arena is a third venture of the Polaris Group. Mr. Arun Jain is the chairperson IIT Ranchi. He holds various prestigious positions in different organizations. He has won several awards, one of which is the Dronacharya Award in 2019 by the TiCon Chennai. So this is a brief introduction of Mr. Arun Jain, who is the founder of Intellect Design Arena. Now let's talk about the business model of this company. An interesting thing about Intellect Design Arena is that they have structured their business into different lines of their services, and for each lines of service they have a separate CEO appointed. So in this way they are focusing on each and every line of business and trying to scale up by using latest technologies. So broadly, if you see, their business divisions are iGTB, which is related to transaction banking, iGCB, which is related to consumer banking or retail banking, iSec, which is related to the insurance business, iRTM, which is related to the treasury management, iWealth is related to the wealth management, and iGov is related to the government initiatives. So in this way they have divided their different business lines of services, and they get revenue in these different service lines through their partnerships with clients, product sales, as well as subscription based revenue. We'll dig deep into these things in the coming slides. So let's start talking about the iGTB, which is the global transaction banking business. This is led by Mr. Manish Makan, who is the CEO of this business. He has worked in the past with big companies like Whirlpool and General Electric, and this division focuses on developing technologies for different banks and financial institutions related to their transaction banking business. Now, what is covered under the transaction banking? It's cash management, cash flow management, banking transactions. In short, you can say all the day-to-day transactions which different stakeholders have with the banks are covered under the transaction banking business, and their platforms and technologies help to facilitate these transactions smoothly, accurately, and with lot of security. They have done more than 175 product installations across the globe in over 70 banks, and they serve clients in more than 85 countries in this line of business. They have been recognized as global number one by an organization called IBS Global Sales League. And wherever they operate, all the big banks and financial institutions are their clients. They have more than 30 years of experience in this sector, and their main focus area for getting this business is from Europe. As of now, they have about 94 customers with an average of 2.7 products per customer. So you can see that their customers are using more than one product from this company. Coming to the next business line, which is the iGCB, which is related to the consumer banking. This is mainly related to the retail banking business, and this is led by Mr. Rajesh Saxena, who is the CEO. He has a lot of experience in retail banking, earlier working with Citibank and American Express India. This business provides platforms and products to retail banking services like CBX Retail, Digital Core, Digital Lending, Digital Wealth, and Quantum Central Banking. So these are the different products which this company offers, and over a period of time they keep evolving different products and platforms which they offer for the consumer banking business. And this in this segment also globally they have been ranked number one by the IBS Sales League table. Coming to their insurance business, which is ISEG, this is led by Mr. Banesh Prabhu, who has experience of more than 23 years working with the Citigroup, American Express, and Siam Commercial Bank. He is also a chartered accountant, and this division provides various technology solutions, platforms, and products to the insurance sector. Whatever functions the insurance companies do, like checking the credit ratings, verifying the insurance policies, disbursements, everything is being taken care of by the solutions which Intellect Design Arena offers. And by using their services or solutions, the companies can offer better services to their customers, reduce the operation time, improve their accuracy, and get better customer satisfaction. One of the products which they launched in the insurance business is CBX One, which helps clients integrate all the functions of the insurance company in a single platform. Coming to the RTM business, which is led by Mr. TV Sinha, who is the head of Treasury and Capital Markets business. In this segment, they offer tech support to the treasury functions of different institutions as well as the capital market related business. He has been on the board of directors of 5 foreign companies and 3 Indian companies, and he has more than 30 years of experience in different IT companies. In this division, Intellect Design Arena has implemented 76 products in more than 70 countries, and these products cover areas like risk management, treasury, capital markets domain. Now coming to the last two, which is related to the wealth management as well as the government initiatives. These divisions are led by Mr. Jaideep Billa, who is the president and CEO of the iWealth division. He's an IITN and MBA from IIM Calcutta. This division focuses on the various wealth management activities which the banks and other financial services institutions offer. So their clients are different wealth managers, their clients are bankers, advisory firms, independent financial advisors. These are the people who use these services. This is a new vertical, and they are going to scale up this vertical into a bigger chunk of the revenue pretty soon. And they are also taking up government initiatives, and recently you might have heard about their platform which was capturing data from the Aadhaar cards of different people. So such kind of government related initiatives also this company has participated into. If you see the revenue mix, license revenue, there are different ways in which this company gets revenue. So their revenue from licensing forms about 22% of their total revenue, from AMMC, which is annual maintenance contract, which forms about 20%. Implementation of different software solutions forms about 45%, and subscription based or the cloud revenue forms about 12% of their total revenue. In terms of currencies, if we see, USD accounts for 38%, GBP about 17%, CAD about 8%, INR 22%. So their majority of the business comes from foreign countries, and the other small countries about 10 to 15%. Based on region, if you see, the already grown or advanced markets constitute about 55%, like US, Europe, Australia, and the growing markets constitute about 45% of their revenue. Now let's talk about the industry in which this company operates, how this industry is expected to perform in the coming years. The global fintech market is growing at a CAGR of about 9.2% up to 2023, and the Indian fintech market presently is valued about $31 billion, is expected to grow to $84 billion by 2025 at a CAGR of 22%. They are in a sector which is going to grow pretty fast, and there are a lot of new startups which are doing a lot of disruptions in this sector. Fintech adoption rate surprisingly in India is about 87%, but globally it is only 64%. So Indians are adopting fintech quite faster than the globe. The major trends which we observe in the fintech industry are digital lending, cashless economy as we are moving to paperless and cashless economy. There are a lot of wealth tech platforms coming up for people to manage their own wealth and investments through the ready-made apps and artificial intelligence. The government is supporting a lot of startups to innovate and disrupt this industry. The insurance companies are getting more and more tech savvy, and latest technologies like AI, ML, and blockchain are being used in the fintech industry. Who are the competitors of this company? We'll discuss the competitors also in terms of their business lines. There is no single competitor, interestingly, who provides services in all the business lines which this company offers. So that's something to note. But in terms of each division, if you see retail banking, there are competitors like Mambo, Thought Machine, Encino, Temenos. In corporate banking, there are competitors like Finastra, Bottomline Technologies. In treasury, it's Finastra, Guava, and Finacle. In insurance, there is Guidewire, Duck Creek, and Capper Data. So these are the different competitors of this company, and they also have competition from the traditional IT companies like Infosys and TCS of the world. Although they don't render all the services which this company offers, but they are providing technology and services to the BFSI segment of the entire world. What are the different competitive strengths which this company has when compared to the others? They have a strong order book of about 41,750 million rupees, and they have bagged 43 deals with an average size of about 400 million. So they are bagging good deals, as well as their order book is pretty strong. They have a revenue share of about 60% from the advanced markets. So they have already strong foothold in the advanced economies of the world. They have more than 260 customers, and they are able to provide customized services to their customers apart from their ready-made platforms. They have a good track record of delivering things in time and not just on time, and they are continuously investing in latest technologies and HR solutions. They have in-depth knowledge of this sector and a strong leadership team. They are focused only on their niche business. They curate their solutions as per the customer needs, and they are able to give their customers a quick proof of concept whenever the customer comes with an idea. And based on that, they keep iterating their solutions and offer the solution finally as per the expectations of their customer. Their existing old customers, which are big banks and financial institutions, refer them to the new customers, which creates a lot of loyalty and trust in the eyes of the new customers. And they have very strong relationships with the larger banks of the world. They are number one in various business verticals across the globe, as we've seen, and they have a huge product portfolio having multiple product offerings in each line of business. How is this company expected to grow in the coming future? The iGTB, which is a transaction banking business, has recently started Islamic banking capabilities also. They've been adding new solutions to this division. They want to expand the offerings to about 150 countries, and the average customer usage of the software would go up from 2.7 to 4. So you can see that they will be doing cross-selling in their business as well as getting more customers. And as you know, there is a huge increase in the fintechs globally, which increases the market size of this business. Coming to the iGCB, which is a consumer banking, they have won ACB digital bank deal recently in this business. They have launched their product, which is called iCredit 360 in Europe. They have got marquee clients like Otto and Cater Allen in this line of business. Coming to the insurance one, which is the iSeg, they are trying to cross-sell their various products in the insurance sector to get more revenue from this division. And as the insurance industry is growing in India as well as abroad, as you know that the insurance penetration is very low in India, as the insurance market expands, the amount of revenue which this company gets from their iSeg business line will go on increasing. In the RTM, which is the Treasury and Wealth and Government Initiatives business, they have been adding continuously big clients in these divisions also. The wealth management sector is still in the nascent stage in India. There are a lot of new apps, there are different solutions coming up in the market. So as this sector expands, it creates a lot of opportunity for this company in wealth management. This company also has their vision made in the form of Intellect 2.0 or 3.0. So as of now, they have acquired whatever targets which they have made in the Intellect 2.0, and now they are moving to Intellect 3.0 targets. Now let's understand what are the various risks which this company might face. In terms of brand, there is a reputation risk. In terms of end customer, if you see, there is business risk of losing customers. There's a lot of competition from global players as it's a global company. They have concentration risk as they are focusing on only one industry, which is the BFSI industry, and not catering to other industries like the other IT companies too. They have individual CEOs in different lines of businesses, so the company has a risk of retaining them to maintain the business in different service lines. Like other companies, they have the IP risk. In terms of execution, they have risks of delivering things on time, complying with all the regulations across the globe, and maintaining data security. In terms of financial risks, they have a forex risk as their revenue is from export of services, and they also have a liquidity risk, which any other company has. Now let's come to the financials of the company and start a financial analysis. We'll compare the figures of last 5 years and try to understand the growth of the company. So in terms of revenue, if you see, the revenue has grown from about 914 crores to about 1497 crores in the last 5 years, which is a decent rise. But in the last 3 years, we don't see a substantial rise in the revenue. In terms of EBITDA, they have done well in FY21, but in the other years, the EBITDA has been inconsistently growing. The EBITDA margins have also risen to 24% in FY21. We have to see for a couple of years and see what are the sustainable margins which this company gets. Profit after tax has risen to 263 crores in FY21, and in the earlier years it has been slightly inconsistent. Profit after tax margin also is about 17% in FY21, but we'll see what is the margin stabilizing around in the coming couple of years. EPS is about 19 rupees in FY21. Share capital has been consistently same in the last 3 years. Reserves have been decently growing, and they have about 1326 crores of reserves in FY21. Borrowings are under control. They have brought down their borrowings to about 82 crores in FY21, and soon the company might become a debt-free company. Fixed assets have steadily rising. The trade receivables are controlled. There are no abnormal increase in the trade receivables of this company, and they are about 187 crores. Cash equivalents, so the liquidity position seems fine. They have about 153 crores on the balance sheet as on FY21. Free cash flow has been negative most of the times, but in FY21 they've got a positive free cash flow about 349. But we have to wait and watch for a couple of years to see whether the cash flow remains positive for the coming years also. ROC is about 22%, so we'll have to see what is the sustainable ROC and ROE which this company maintains, as it has been inconsistent in the earlier years. Debtor days of 46, which are under control. Now let's understand the shareholding pattern. The promoter holding is not so impressive. It is just 31%, but the FII holding is very strong, around 27%. The DI is about 2.34 and the public holding is about 38.5%. There's no pledge. Coming to the few other financial highlights, the debt equity ratio is just 0.06, so it's almost a debt-free company. The company has not paid dividends recently. The auditors of the company are one of the big four firms, which is SR Bartley Boy and Associates, and the remuneration paid to the KMPs is about 5 crores. ROE is about 21%, which is pretty decent. Now let's talk about the valuation part. The last traded price is somewhere around 700, and 52-week high and low is about 200 to 900. The last 5 years, it has given a CAGR of about 34%, 3 years 49%, and last 1 year about 200%. So in terms of returns, the stock has performed very well for its investors. The market cap still is just about 9,500 crores and PE is about 32. Median PE, if you see in the last 3 years, is about 30, and the industry PE is about 30. So in terms of valuation, it is slightly overvalued, and face value is 5, it's not 10. Book value is about 100 rupees, so PB ratio is about 6.84. So in terms of PB ratio also, it looks slightly expensive. Market cap to sales comes to about 6 times, which is also on the higher side. So in terms of valuation, the stock seems to be a little expensive. Coming to the chart, the stock takes good support to somewhere around 600 rupees, which is also its 200 EMA. So if at all you choose to invest in this stock as per your own analysis, you can keep 600 as a decent level to start taking position in this stock. So this is about Intellect Design Arena. I hope you like the 360-degree analysis which we have done in terms of business, the management, as well as the financial part. To summarize, I would say that the company has a strong leadership team. They have a good organizational structure and have a CEO for every line of business which they have. They are focused into a niche business, which is the BFSI sector, which is having a bright future in the coming years, and it is growing pretty fast. It has an edge over the other companies in terms of the technology which they offered in this sector. They have strong client relationships, and the fundamentals are pretty decent, if not so impressive, of this company. Performance wise, in the last few years, the performance has not been so consistent, but looking at the management confidence and their commentary and outlook, they are pretty confident that they are going to deliver strong results in the years to come. So we have to keenly watch the results of the upcoming quarters and the years. One thing which I also take it as a negative is that their dependency on only one industry. If the BFSI industry is not performing so well, the revenues of this company would be highly impacted. They would have tough competition from the local and global players, the small and startups which are disrupting the industry, as well as the big players of the world which are giants IT companies. And in terms of valuations, I find this stock a little expensive. So that's about Intellect Arena. I hope you like the video. If you like it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to join a Telegram channel where I post daily market analysis and lot of interesting news and views. If you want me to make videos on your favorite stocks, don't forget to type the name of that stock in the comments below. Choose one of those stocks and surely make a video in the coming days. So thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.